This film could change everything. If the content of this film were assimilated, understood, and acted upon, regardless the cost, with an unswaying attitude that this must be done, we could change everything. Without any military-style campaigns on warlike footings costing trillions. I don't really care if you're rich or poor. This applies equally. Christian or Muslim, Jewish or Arab. Whether you hide your life behind some noble title or stash of wealth, or both, to bring unqualified importance to your empty, soulless lives. Or whether you are poor and suffering and weep your way through every day trying to keep hungry children happy. There is a cause, a reason for why our race is so messed up. And guess what? Where there is a cause, it can be ended. And the effects arising from the causation may come to die. Our world may come to find order through the understanding of the total disorder it now exists within. Humanity is living completely wrongly. We could investigate the societal, educational, mandated enforcement which leads the human brain to acting this way. We could analyse our past history, for we seem to have always valued living so insanely without question. But to look in such places, as revealing as this may be, will not release us from the bondage of our habitual, traditional, and educated, learned, psychological-based approaches to life. We need act to do that, and action is perfected in clear perception. The essence of our being as we are living it is in our thinking, which is a movement among memory cells in the human brain. We live in the past, and the view we possess of our lives and our deaths is ever coloured, ever manipulated by what we think. We watch our lives through memories of past events and future fears and desires. Perception, the meeting of the senses, is unrelated to thought. The senses are what perceive our lives, and perception is where our soul yet lives on, awaiting the return of our awareness, that we may meet in deep relationship in our true home, this moment, this time, this place. Our home today has been built on a foundation of thought, which is a shifting ground, arising from knowledge limited to past experiences. This is a divisive way of living, for not one of us has passed through the very same life experiences, and so not one of us sees the same world exactly as another. This is why our world has always been conflicted. We have been educated to place an image of ourselves center stage in our thinking, the sense of me, the sense of self. This is the talking voice you hear within incessantly. This inner restless sense of what I am, this apparent thinker of thoughts, is in truth a movement of thought among others, a fragment within the whole of the thinking brain. This division within us, necessitated by a societal insistence that we all become something in life, lives in conflict within its inner world, within the stream of consciousness, and in its outer world, between other fragments of knowledge, other people also living as thought, although different thoughts arising from differing knowledge accumulated from differing past life experiences. This is the very inner movement which breaks up our inner world and outer. The inner self is a conceptual illusion, much like our future, something we have agreed upon, but which yet, when investigated, holds no solidity to life. This incessant movement and content of thought gives the impression a self exists, but take away all thinking, and this inner conceptual self meets its demise. This is exactly what Christ had in mind when he stated a man must be born again to enter the kingdom of heaven. We suffer in life because our thinking is in charge, and thought has neither capacity nor intelligence to lead a life. Thought is mere recordings of previous experiences held as knowledge within the memory cells of the brain. The true light of our lives is perception. Complete perception is a religious state. Here we find the human connection to the sacred. Complete is another word for whole, which is related to the word holy. Once again, pointing in this sane direction for the true ground our feet need to stand upon. Complete perception is perception from a background of absolute silence. If you are psychologically engaged with inner words and images, desires and fears, your mind is constantly occupied, and in this constantly occupied state, it is quite impossible to give complete attention to anything in life. Listening, true listening, complete seeing, these activities demand that your inner chattering comes to an end. If you see this, then what you see will begin to act. True action comes from vision. Thought is inaction, reaction, not true action based on actual perception, which is the most intelligent and satisfying way to live. To meet this present moment in absolute silence. A miracle will take place if we can understand this, because when we meet life with a silent mind, we see life as it is now, not as we think about it, not as we wish it to be. And these movements are how our conflicts arise between us, for we all think and wish differently. When we meet life with a silent mind, we are free of inner sense of self, and so free of time, free of senseless self-importance, free of fear, free of psychological hurt, pain, jealousy, and attachment, free of everything which divides us in life, and so free of the very root cause of all conflict in our lives and all wars between us, free of ambition, free of greed, free of a desire for success and more and dominance forever over the lives of others. And the miracle is this, that when we are completely silent, without any self-interest arising within, without the continual ordering and colouring of our lives by memories, which is knowledge, which is thinking, we now meet the very same world. Our disagreements are over, for our disagreements are all contained in the field of our thinking. We may now find that dying to self ends time in our lives. We have no need anymore for a past to build from, or a future to build into. Freed from such conceptual illusions, we come to meet the present moment of life in totality, which is home to our lost sense of love. Love is a fragrance. It reigns over all life from the heavens. And the asking price to meet love in your life is that your mind is completely silent. Love is death. For to meet love, you, as the past, as the movement of memory within, simply cannot be. Love belongs to creation, and the past of memory is never creative. Inventive it may be, creation is out of reach. Of absolute urgent importance, given our current undesirable historical situation, is to bring this inner educated consciousness, this ever-present movement of thinking, to an end. Our lives are then born anew in truth, in perception, rather than in past memories, and living now, rather than in what has already ended. No future to be found in a world healed of divisions between us, in full perception of love without a care in the world. Able to see, free from self-interest, and so free to act rightly in full, sacred, holy presence of this living universe. What are we waiting for? We have a soul to meet, a creative energy to guide us, and a world to put right, by removing it from the human bondage of ever becoming into a conceptual future, of living life conceptually in the field of the past, and ever seeking more of what we have always been in mundane, soul-destroying continuity of that which has already ended. We are not living when we live like this. We are existing. This could never be called living. Living is only found when the past comes to a complete end, for the past has ended to the universe. We begin to live when we find the capacity to meet our daily lives in complete silence, when thought has found its right place, in memory, in speaking a language, building a house, driving a car, and remembering all the skills needed to engage in satisfying work. Thought has no place as the essence of our lives. as the source of our life's intelligence. For thought is based on knowledge, and knowledge is never complete. Knowledge comes from experience, and no one can experience everything. Knowledge then is forever fatally and narrowly limited, and so our thinking and our actions arising from our thoughts share the same reflections. Our thinking divides us because our thinking arises from divided past experiences. Our perception is the only thing which can unite us, and then we will come to find a life with no place or need for any belief whatsoever, for our lives themselves will have become complete and will be the sacred. The Great Reset is an abomination. This is action related to human ideology, and so a continuity of our historical divisions which ever lead us to war. Thought divides us for the same reason that our thinking arises from divisive past knowledge stored as memorized past experiences, which are ever limited and ever divided between people. We can witness this movement so easily in our world today. This movement has already brought untold suffering to untold lives. Let us put down these pointless desires of self-interest and self-continuity of my importance between us. Let us come to the emptying of the human mind of selfish greed and selfish pursuits into a world of selflessness, that we may at last and for once meet each other without self-concern, and so act appropriately for the needs of all of us, rather than being internally coerced, cajoled, manipulated, and brutalized by our past experiences to act and to live our lives in the unrequested direction of another man's desires. Heaven awaits, and it is in front of your eyes right now. The change needed is not in our external world, it is inside of us. Listen to your internal programmed movements, that you may become wise in your understanding of them. And when total understanding comes to you, that you may come to learn the secrets of life and death, which only ever reveal to a completely silent mind. And here, in our new formed shared ecstasy, free from self, free from ambition, free from worries, fears, desirous pleasures, and the never-ending pursuit of more, we find the meeting place for humanity in love, life, and death. For when we are free of inner self, we will build a world without self-interest, which is a world without any division. And this world we will be pleased indeed to come to call our new home.